morning, Twin Cities, and welcome to the second part of our inaugural show. The first part was last Sunday, and we're going to continue talking today about the Real Estate Collaborative. You are listening in to Reckoning with Real Estate, a show about the American dream and building a better real estate company. I'm Paige Kahle with the Real Estate Collaborative, and I am joined by my colleagues, Meghan Howard, and she is BOTFG, boots on the ground with an extra word thrown in that we're not allowed to say on the radio, and Tara Swedberg, admin extraordinaire. She keeps us all on track and keeps us organized and helps with my memory because I don't remember things sometimes. So with that, we're going to get started. One of the things that when we started REC 2.5 years ago, and REC is short for the Real Estate Collaborative, we really set out to kind of fix those things that we didn't like about the real estate industry. And one quote that you can find it on our website, which is therecolab.com, is, and it's a quote by Eboo Patel. I don't really know who he is other than he was in Obama's administration and he wrote a book. And I came across this quote and it resonated with what we're doing at REC. And it's, in order to defeat the things we don't like, we need to build things we do. So that's really what we're trying to do with REC. And in this show, we're going to break it down. And there are about 4 or 5 things that REC does pretty differently than other brokerages. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about kind of the big box brokerages without, mentioning them by name. But I think we all know the blue signs and the red signs and the red, white, and blue signs and the billboards with the long arms on them and the company that ends every conversation with "Make it a great day." And with that, let's talk about, so overall, we're just trying to do things in a more consumer-centric way. There was the lawsuit that settled against the National Association of Realtors last August for $441 or $431 million, whatever the number was. It was big. And we're about a year out from that, and things really haven't changed much. But so we're just focusing on our little corner of the world. There's 6 of us total right now. And one of the things that we do differently, let's start with dual agency. So Meghan or Tara, does one of you want to kind of break down dual agency and what that means, like for a big box broker?
Mm-hmm. Well, and we have all worked for big box brokers before, so we are familiar with this.
That's where we met a lot of our favorite people.
Yes, and are still friends with many of them.
Yep.
And so the odds of you as the listener going to perhaps see a home that is also listed by the same brokerage of the home that you are listing at. So your buyer's agent is part of that brokerage, and the listing or seller's agent is part of that same brokerage. If you were to engage in a purchase of that home, dual agency refers to both agents being part of the same brokerage in that transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And we at the Real Estate Collaborative do not do dual agency, so that we believe it is a more transparent and much more beneficial to our clients to not have dual agency in our transactions.
Yeah, we want people, when they sign a contract with us, to know that we are representing them and them only. So part of the problem with dual agency that I think most consumers don't understand, because let's be honest, when you're purchasing a home or even selling a home, there are a lot of moving parts. There's a lot that you kind of have to pay attention to and manage, and your realtor, your trusted advisor, is helping you do that. And you're kind of trusting them with a lot of it. But dual agency reduces the agent's ability to advocate exclusively for you. So let's think about that. So if you're working with a big broker and they're representing you to buy a home, if you don't agree to dual agency, and we were kind of given these scripts when we were with one of those said companies. If the buyer doesn't agree to dual agency, because you do have to sign something that you agree to it or you don't agree to it, we wouldn't have been allowed to show them that broker's listings,
Property, yeah.
which of course, that's a huge segment of the market because they're so big and they're
Mhm.
kind of everywhere. So most buyers would say, okay, we'll do it. But the kicker is it reduces, if then they buy a home listed by that same broker, like Meghan said, it reduces the listing agents and the buyer agents' ability to represent their clients, and yet they're paid the same. So let's just pause on that and think about that, where your fiduciary duties to your client are reduced and you're not able to advocate exclusively for them, and yet you're paid the same amount. Thoughts, reactions, feelings?
Yeah, I mean, just let it soak in. And that's a lot of money to that broker on both sides. And also, I want to say, dual agency, we're not saying that agents are calling each other and saying, oh, my buyer's going to do this or my seller's going to do that.
We are not.
That has happened in the past, but that's not what we're saying. We're saying that we as agents are also human. And through conversations, you don't mean to, but things are said that might be beneficial to one side or the other. Again, not because either agent means for it to be.
Right.
It just lessens the...
And you can say things through your looks, through your tone of voice. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that we communicate. Giveaways. And what I always thought, and so dual agency, there's two types of dual agency in my mind. There's dual, where it's the same agent, the same human being representing the seller and the buyer. And then the broader type that's way more common is where it's two different agents representing each party. But the dual, and even when we were with the other big broker, I had made a decision probably 5 years into being a realtor that I wasn't going to do dual. I never wanted to represent both the buyer and the seller. I will say I did it a couple times, once successfully where everybody was happy. But the second time, I mean, I remember sitting in a room in our office with my seller and we were both crying. I mean, it was awful. And to your point, Meghan, we're all human and we don't have firewalls in our brain. No, we can't say this side of my brain is for this person and this side of my brain is for the other person. It just isn't a very consumer friendly situation.
It's easy to make mistakes.
It's easy to make mistakes. It's easy for people to walk away feeling kind of bad, like they didn't get good representation, because they probably didn't get the greatest representation. But you know who it is good for?
The broker.
Thank you. The broker. Because if we did dual agency, we would make more money.
Right.
Well, and if I may, I mean, one of the things I think that I like about REC is, even though we don't believe in dual agency, we do have other agents that we work with and we refer clients to, so that
that's a good point.
Yes, and that's good for people to know that if you do see a house that the Real Estate Collaborative has listed, yes, we have folks that we will connect you with so that you can make an offer on that.
So if you're working with us, say as a buyer, and we have a contract with you, and we all of a sudden get a listing and you're interested in that listing, we have referral partners that we know and trust and do a good job that we can refer folks to. So it's just
there's options.
There are options. The other option is, if we're doing an open house at a listing and a buyer comes in and says, this is my house. I want to write an offer. I'm not represented. I mean, we can, have one of our other agents write up the offer, but we're very, very, very clear that we're not representing you.
Yep.
You're telling us what to put on the paper. We're going to make sure that, you follow the letter of the law and we disclose everything. We have to keep everything confidential, whether it's a customer or a client. And we charge you accordingly. We charge you a nominal fee, a nominal flat dollar fee.
Yes.
That might, if you're a seasoned buyer, it might make sense for you to do that, to represent yourself, basically.
Well, yeah, you're not paying 2.7 to just have.
She said it. Everybody.
Oh, I said a
She
percentage.
said it.
Not like percentages.
No, I don't like percentages.
But it's out there.
Yes.
I mean,
It's everywhere.
That 2.7%, and
Fluctuates.
we had 2 minutes and 7 seconds left in this segment when I looked up at the clock.
Oh,
Let's
and now.
just do a little numerical thing there. I'm not sure what that means, but
Doo-doo-doo-doo.
Well, and I also wanted to say everything is negotiable.
Yes.
This is what the lawsuit brought to light, and it was always negotiable.
You
and
have the
nobody
right
knew
to.
it.
Yeah, you have the
It-
right to negotiate.
It's all you, the buyer or the seller.
Yes.
Everything is negotiable.
yes. So on that point, and we're going to head into break here in a couple minutes, but on that point, so every year our state association updates the forms, the purchase agreement, the listing contract, all of that. And one of the big changes this year was because of the lawsuit. They added in big, bold, capitalized letters, which I applaud them for doing this. Basically, it says realtor commissions are not set by law and they are fully negotiable. So the fully negotiable part, bold, capitalized letters, super, I think that's great. Realtor commissions are not set by law. What does that even mean? They were never set by law, but there was a little collusion going on about the buyer.
And it's still not a conversation.
It is not. It's 2.7%, 2.7%,
3.3, 2.7.
Yeah,
3.3
or
for
more,
sellers,
right?
yeah.
Or more. So it is not that we're here to call out the industry, but maybe a little. So with that, we're going to head to break. You're listening to Reckoning with Real Estate, the second part of our inaugural show. See you in a little bit.
Every swing you take, might not in the fray, crashing through these.
Welcome back to Reckoning with Real Estate, a show about the American dream and building a better real estate company. I'm Paige with the Real Estate Collaborative, and I'm joined still by Megan and Tara, who are also with the Real Estate Collaborative. When we went to break, we were talking about dual agency, and I think we talked about that, gave a pretty good overview about why that's not consumer-centric, why that's not beneficial to the consumer, but it is beneficial to the company, increases their profits. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, again, something that is maybe not beneficial to the consumer, but is beneficial to the broker. And that's the whole compensation to realtors, whether you're a buyer's agent or a seller's agent. Traditionally, and certainly pre-settlement, and we're just seeing it continue post-settlement, things aren't really being done differently, except by some maybe smaller companies throughout the country and in North America. But is this idea that the commission is a percentage of the sales price. And, traditionally, let's just say 5 to 7%. Well, 5 to 7% that the seller pays, and then it's split with the buyer's broker. That was pre-settlement. And it's still sort of being done like that with some agents, some brokers, but a lot of people have decoupled those, and we'll talk about that later at a different show. But the percentage, 5 to 7% on a $200,000 house, maybe on a $400,000 house, maybe even on a $500,000 house. Okay, maybe the work that a realtor does is commensurate with that. when you look at the higher priced homes, like $1 million, $2 million, and then you start talking about $50,000, $70,000, is that really commensurate with the work being done? So that's, I know, something that we've all discussed probably ad nauseum. And we made the decision early on to charge a flat dollar amount to both sellers and buyers. And I'm just going to say, I know there are a couple companies in the Twin Cities that do a flat dollar amount for the listing, but they're still charging, and we're going to say it, that 2.7% to the buyers because they can. So let's talk a little bit about why the flat dollar amount makes sense for us, for consumers.
Well, I mean, I can talk about a client that I just had that was looking for a home between $300,000 and $600,000. I mean, 2.7 on $300,000 is quite a swing. So basically, I think we had the conversation because we are open to having that conversation with our buyers and sellers that, we came up with a price that they felt was fair. And I still felt like I was being compensated, and it was a flat dollar amount. And whether he would have bought a home for $600,000 or $300,000, that flat dollar amount remained the same. So I think they walked away very happy.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because back to before the break, Megan was talking about how realtors are human beings, which we it's kind of stating the obvious, but I think sometimes
weekends, it's nights,
and we have good days and bad days,
and we have good
like
days and bad
else.
days, and we live in the United States of America, and sometimes we're motivated by money. And to Tara's point, if you're client, and this is not an uncommon scenario where a buyer has a pretty big price swing. And as a realtor, as a human being, if you're charging them that 2.7%, would you rather them buy the $300,000 house or the $600,000 house?
I mean, $14,000 sounded really nice to me with that 2.7. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But it was not necessary.
No.
Yeah. And it creates, I mean, what you guys know, this is one of my favorite phrases for realtors in terms of how we're compensated, the perverse incentives. It creates a perverse incentive. And again, we're humans, so we're not bashing anybody. But I think, all of this just needs to be talked about more.
Yep. Put it out there. Another positive of a flat rate, which is what REC does, is as soon as the buyer is ready to go out looking for a home, they know that whatever rate that is like negotiating power for them.
Yeah,
so when they write that offer, they can say, oh, there's multiple offers on this house. Oh, okay. I know what that flat dollar amount is. Maybe if I pay that and I'm putting in an offer where everyone else is asking the seller to pay that commission, they know what that dollar amount is. It can strengthen their offer, or it can even strengthen their offer putting in that dollar amount compared to what everyone else is. It's just beneficial for the client.
Yeah. Well, and on our listings that we've had this year, a couple of them have sold, and we've gotten like 9 or 10 offers, which is, I'm just here to say, it's a lot to manage for everyone, and it's kind of too many, and it makes me crazy. But almost all of them, the buyer's broker asked for 2.7% or more, and there was even one cash offer where they asked for the seller to pay that 2.7%, and I'm just like, well, your offer would be so much stronger if you didn't have that in there. So the idea of also talking to buyers about, do you want the seller to pay it? Do you want to include it as a term of the purchase agreement? Or do you want to pay it outside of the purchase agreement
on your own and not pay it over 30 years with the interest?
Yep.
And we used the flat dollar amount that the buyer paid out of pocket as a bargaining chip with our offer.
So they paid it and then did not ask the seller to. And that's a lot. That means a lot to the seller.
Yeah, it's
I think it does. I think it does, because one of the things that the lawsuit brought to light, one of the claims was, why in the world me as the seller, why am I paying the compensation for a buyer's agent when
Yes.
they're negotiating against my interests?
Yep.
It just defies logic.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. And yet we're still seeing it happen. But again, to the point of the industry is massive. It's like the largest trade industry in North America. It's going to take time for things to change. I do think things are going to change slowly, but I think
Maybe over 10 years.
over 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be really, a long time period. And the big corporate brokers are going to put their heels down, and they don't want to see it change, which, I mean, it's the American way. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a good segue into another fee that we also do not charge at the Real Estate Collaborative, which is the admin fee.
Yes.
Broker admin fee.
Yeah. Say more about the broker admin fee. What does that go to?
Well, usually it goes to the
Broker.
the corporation. And, a lot of times they'll charge anywhere from $400 to $1,000 per transaction. And with us, you have that money left over to spend on something nice for your new home.
Yeah. We don't charge that. All our commission is just the one flat dollar amount. We don't, I think of it. And again, we all worked at kind of these big companies and had to, I mean, if we didn't charge the client that fee, it was charged to us.
Right.
And it was kind of a hard thing to explain, like we're, especially with the seller. Our commission is 6% and we're going to get $450 too.
Yep.
Even if it went to the broker, to your point, Tara, it goes, to the broker, the company. But
and where it really hit me, because I did come from a place where we charge, broker admin fee was on every transaction, buyers and sellers. And then with REC, we don't charge a broker admin fee. And at closing, when we were all, figuring everything out, the title company said, "Oh my gosh, Megan, I am so sorry. I just assumed you charged the broker admin fee. So I just had it in there. And this happened to be $500. And my clients were sitting there and they said, "We're just going to cut you a check." And they handed them a check for $500. It really made it
interesting.
real for me to see like,
this is money in your
$500.
pocket. Yes.
And they were thrilled.
Yep.
I said, "No, we do not charge that."
It's like a little closing gift.
It was. They're like, I mean, we were just talking about we need a new sofa,
Yeah.
So that's going to fund that.
Well, and we do confuse our title companies.
Yes.
I mean, shout out to our title company,
Yep.
Watermark Title,
Yes.
Julie Davidson team. They're amazing. And now after 2.5 years, they kind of understand what we're doing, but it is, I mean, it's upsetting the apple cart a little bit because it's pretty different than the traditional or big box broker. What else do we have on there?
Retainer fees.
Oh, retainer fees. So another perverse incentive for realtors is we're generally not paid until the deal closes, which means then sometimes we're kind of chasing the transaction. Again, to Megan's point, we're human beings. We're not robots. Not yet anyway. And so we offer two options. They're always flat dollar amount, but you can pay a retainer, a small nominal retainer up front. That helps us, like if it's a listing, we have all the hard costs, photography costs, and
sign install,
putting the sign in the yard, and marketing, all the work that you do, Tara, on the files. So the retainer fee covers a lot of that for the realtor. The buyer's realtor covers kind of the drive time and the gas and all of that. And then on the closing side, you're going to pay a lesser amount, or you don't have to have a retainer. You don't, because we recognize a lot of people don't have extra cash sitting around. So it's more expensive to do the closing or the commission at closing.
But
so
still, most likely working with the Real Estate Collaborative, more expensive without a retainer, still less expensive than you would.
That is correct.
With,
yes.
Yeah.
Most other brokers. So
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice, and I will say most of the folks that we've worked with have chosen
I
the
think,
retainer
what,
and really
60?
appreciate it.
Yeah.
60-70%.
Yeah, choose the retainer
Yep.
option because they recognize they'll save money on the back end,
mhm.
and they appreciate that. And I've had people say, God, this makes so much sense. We don't want you working for
Mhm.
free, because what if we change our minds
Right.
and we decide we don't want to buy?
Yeah.
So people get it.
And again, this has always been there in
uh-huh.
the buyer's representation
That's true.
contract.
Yep.
It just is
Never spoken about.
novel too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we are coming up on time. It goes fast, but thank you, Megan and Tara, for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Thanks,
yes.
Paige.
And thanks for all the work you do, making Rec a better company. And next Sunday, I think what we're going to talk about, and I'm making this up on the fly,
Nice.
is the housing justice work we do, which is a bigger topic than we could get to in the last couple of minutes. So we'll see you hopefully next weekend, and have a good week.
Every move you make